5. Last night, a friend rushed me out of the house to catch the opening act at a local bar's music night. After a few drinks, I reached for my phone, but it wasn't in my pocket. I checked the table we were sitting at, the bar, the bathrooms. Nothing. I borrowed my friend's phone and called my number. After 2 rings, someone answered. They let out this low, raspy giggle, then hung up. I tried again, and again. No one picked up. Eventually I gave up, figured it was gone. Went home, and there it was, lying on my nightstand, right where I left it. Number 4. I worked at a campground on the night shift, from midnight to 8 a.m. every single night. It wasn't bad. I'd bring my PS2, play games through most of the night, and usually only dealt with 1 or 2 people on the busy shifts. The place was dead quiet. Just me, sitting in this tiny little 8x8 foot shack, surrounded by pitch black woods. Nothing else around. During my first week, the third shift guy who was quitting told me something strange. There was this old payphone just a few feet from the shack. He said it rang every single night at exactly 4:17 a.m. just once. He figured it was some kind of automated test call, said he'd never answered it. I worked there all summer. For a long time I kept the windows shut, so I never even heard the phone. But mid-August, when the nights got cooler, I started leaving them open. Sure enough, 4:17 a.m. Just one single ring, and it sounded off, like the phone had been dunked underwater. Muffled, warped somehow. One night I got curious. I set an alarm for 4:15 and walked over to wait. When it rang, I picked it up. Nothing, just dead silence. No tone, no voice. But I felt someone was there. I said hello a few times. Nothing. I did that for a week. Same thing. Eventually I stopped. Then came October. One night I set the alarm again. I waited. And this time when I answered, I said hello a few times like before. And that's when I heard it. A sound like someone breathing through clenched teeth. Then a voice. Harsh, like gravel being chewed. It spoke and it said my full name, my address. But it didn't stop there. Then it whispered, "Don't hang up again." I froze. It was no voice I recognized. Something inside me just broke. I slammed the phone down. My hands were shaking so bad. I didn't sleep that day, or the next. I quit a week later. I haven't been back since.
But sometimes, at 4:17 a.m., my phone rings just once.
A few years back, I rented a house from a friend of mine. He had just bought the house and completely renovated it. He tried to sell it, but couldn't, so I moved in. That's when I met the woman next door. She looked 45, but something about her felt much older. Every night, she'd sit up listening to Christian radio shows, talking loudly to someone, but no one was there. I couldn't sleep, so I knocked, asked her to keep it down. She opened the door, and what did I see? Crosses painted on every wall. They were different colors, red, blue, and black, with words like Jesus and angels scrawled in marker. Her windows were painted black. There was no light coming in. The floor was an old yellow carpet, damp and stained, cockroaches everywhere. She had no dog, but there was dog hair all over the carpet. I asked again if she can keep it down. She just stared, then closed the door and turned the radio louder. Later that night, I woke up and saw a shadow standing next to the bed. At first, I thought it was a dream or sleep paralysis. But no, it was her. She had broken in, and in her hand was something metal. She said, "You should lock your doors at night." Then she walked out. Next morning, she's under my window muttering, speaking in tongues, holding a plastic bag. Inside was a dead dog, rotting in the heat. The smell was death. I ran upstairs, asked another neighbor if he'd seen her. His face went white. She broke into his place too, stood behind his couch holding a power drill while he watched TV with his kids. That's when I knew what she was holding in my room. I called the cops. They knew her, a violent schizophrenic off her meds, but they couldn't go in her house, not unless she left on her own. So I waited 2 days. Then at 2 a.m., she went to buy cigarettes. I called the cops again. 3 cars in a van. They got her in 2 minutes and took her away. And just like that, she was gone. I never saw her again. But sometimes, I still see her in my dreams, watching me while I sleep. I was about 15 minutes from finishing my night shift. When I heard it, a massive crash. One of the office windows had shattered. I got up and walked slowly to the front of the building. And there it was, a large rock, thrown straight through the glass, which made no sense because it was 11:30 at night in the industrial district. Everything else was closed, so I called security. I told them what happened, then grabbed my stuff and left. As I walked outside, I kept thinking about that crash, about the rock, about how someone had to throw it when there was no one around. I freaked myself out so much. I ended up running to my car. I jumped in and sped off. I was almost home when I had finally started to calm down. That's when it hit me. I never unlocked my car. It was already unlocked when I got in. I reached behind me and quickly checked the back seat. No one there. Fast forward 30 minutes. I call a friend. He was out drinking, so I decided to meet him. I took my bike. It was quiet and peaceful out at night. The moon was out. Then I heard it. Someone riding behind me. I kept to the side and he passed me slowly and looks at me, smiling, but not a normal smile. It was insane. That's when I noticed he was riding my mom's bike. My blood ran cold. I turned around and sprinted on my bike home. And when I got there, her bike was gone. And one of my car doors, the back left door, the one I never touched, was wide open. When I was a kid, I was always the last one picked up by the bus driver. One morning I stood alone, waiting. A school bus pulled up, but it was empty. No kids. The driver smiled at me. "Hop on," he said. Something felt wrong. I asked, "Where are the other kids?" He paused, then said, "We'll get them now. Just get on." But the way he looked at me, the way he spoke, I felt it in my gut. I shook my head. No, he didn't argue. Just got pushy, but not violent. Eventually he gave up, shrugged, and drove away. Minutes later, the real school bus arrived, full of kids. I got on, went to school. That night I mentioned it casually to my parents. Their faces went pale. They started making phone calls fast. Looking back, I think I narrowly escaped something terrible.